All right, we're back. Jim Awad, Don Luskin, Jerry Bowyer, Herb Greenberg. Jim Awad, begin with you. In a more optimistic scenario, what is the strategy here? Well, what sectors in particular?
Right. Well, okay. I think, finally you can buy. It appears that we have, in fact, passed the peak of the liquidity crisis, and you can buy financials like J.P. Morgan. But the big story is that the center of gravity remains overseas, and I will repeat that U.S. domiciled companies with good balance sheets, high market share, levered to overseas growth are going to be the best play for the next couple of years. And I think we're going to get through a sorting process in the second quarter. But if the politics don't throw us off base, I think the back half of the year can be very attractive.
Jim, this is Herb. What happens if the dollar does do a boomerang and goes much higher? How would that affect those U.S. domiciled companies?
All you're doing is taking the high pressure, the headline pressure off the dollar, and you'll get a moderate rebound. I'm not talking about any secular revaluation of the dollar from current prices, but if it's not in a free fall, then U.S. companies, if it just stabilizes from here, has a bounce, gets a little bit stronger, U.S. companies are still competitive worldwide, and you will have foreigners continue to be interested in buying our financial assets. But think about what Larry said. If you take out financials in a quarter where you had zero economic growth, non-financial corporate profits were up 11%, just think what they can do when we start to grow again.
Herb Greenberg, Microsoft came in light on sales, and maybe light on earnings, too.
I don't know if it was as light as you think, but go ahead.
Well, I know. The stock was selling off when we started, but whatever. You've had some issues in earnings. I mean, the international big caps companies that Jim Awad's talking about, we've had some issues. 3M had some issues. DuPont had some issues. Some of the commodity makers had some issues. UPS has had some issues. FedEx has had. Transportations have done very well, but, you get pockets of these problems, Herb. Is that a management execution issue? Does that mean the global story is not as powerful? Or in your judgment, does that mean the domestic story is even worse?
I think they're telling you. UPS is what's a better bellwether than UPS? And what's a better bellwether than FedEx? They're telling you the business is slowing and the consumer is having a much rougher time. And one other thing about the earnings, by the way, you come in and you say, let's not forget, there's a giant game right now, more than it's been in a long time, of beat the number. It is more. I want to stress this. More than beating the number. There's more underneath those numbers, and we talk about beating the quality of those earnings. What's going on the balance sheet is far more important.
U.S. balance sheets are in great shape. Corporate balance sheets are in phenomenal shape by and large, and you can't phony the numbers if the fundamentals aren't there. And if you look at the multinationals, everyone, it's domestic where there has been disappointment, international where it's been stronger. This is the year we're going to test decoupling, and I think it probably works, that you can get a slowdown overseas, but still high secular growth.
The thing that's amazing, though, Don Luskin, where these trouble spots do occur, and I agree, FedEx gave lousy guidance, so did UPS. On the other hand, you look at trucking over the past month or 6 weeks, up 13%. You look at rails, up almost 20%. Now, those transports have been leading us. Traditionally, transports are a futuristic growth indicator for the economy.
The transportation sector was at all-time highs last Friday. Maybe it even exceeded those today. I haven't checked. So what that's telling you, that seems like a paradox, right? How can we have all-time high oil prices and all-time high transportation sector prices? The thing that explains both of them is growth. Growth has been underestimated to begin with, and now it's coming back up, and that recovery is underestimated, too. That's underestimated squared. I love it.
Jerry Bowyer, it would be very funny, ha, 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 if there was no real recession, and if the economy did come back in the next few months, maybe even this spring. Wouldn't that be amusing?
I maintain...
The whole media would be wrong. The political class would be wrong.
I maintain...
Never happened before.
We didn't have a recession. We don't have a recession. We had a slowdown, and we'll have a recovery. Will it be a boom? No, but it'll be a recovery.
All right, I'll take it. Jim Awad, Don Luskin, Jerry Bowyer, Herb Greenberg. Thank you, folks. Up next, my last word.